Hello, this is Logan Fragamini. This is my interview. For the first question, tell me about your education or experience that best prepares you for this role. First of all, my mother works in human resources management for my father's company, Gerke Company, and I've seen not a lot of firing, but I've seen a lot of hiring, a lot of delegation, and as far as education goes, I feel I've learned pretty much only business for the last at least 5 years, and I feel confident in my ability to perform anything that comes with that. Describe how you stay organized while handling multiple tasks or deadlines. For me, I like to do one thing in its entirety, and then I'll move on to the next. If I'm having two things that are due at the same time, I like to do one fully, obviously before it's due, and then move to the next one. I feel when I work on two, three, four, five things at once, I don't put forth my absolute best effort because I'm slightly focused on something, slightly focused on another. So I like to keep 100% of my focus on the task at hand. Um, Example of how you handle constructive feedback. Um, let's see, a great example for this is baseball. I mean, I played baseball my entire life. I've played at a high level most of my life, and there's 100% definitely there's times where people are going to tell you things that you don't want to hear, and vice versa. You're going to have to tell other people things that they don't want to hear, and it's all about how you deal with that, which is the root of the question. So I would say, especially in baseball, like kind of how I treat my life, I'll take kind of everything I hear with a little bit of a grain of salt. I know some things, other people know some things. I believe that both of us most of the time are right. So whether they're giving me some criticism that's constructive, and it can make you upset at first, but you got to realize where they're coming from and then how you're thinking about it. You got to kind of have two ends. You have to sort of find a middle ground that makes sense to for both of you. How'd you respond if a coworker asked you to share private employee information? This has actually happened to me a few times, especially about pay, and it kind of sucks because maybe not that you should be friends, but I end up being friends with a lot of the people that I work with just because I'm around them so much, and we have uh, alike goals and such. And yeah, I mean, it sucks, but you just have to tell them, like, hey, man, even though we're friends, like, I just can't tell you that. That's against our company policy, and that's something that could not only get me into trouble, but you also. And there's just some things that you can't talk about, like pay, as I said. So, um, what basic HR functions are you familiar with? Definitely recruiting for sure is one of the biggest ones. I've seen this, like I said, in business a little bit with the hiring process, but also a lot in sports. Um, I've gone through it myself. I've seen other people do it, and I've actually started helping recruit for baseball also. So it's actually one of my favorite things is that. But um, as far as other things go, I would say onboarding also. I mean, I had to teach people at the golf course how to do certain things, and they'd do it well, they'd move on, and then I have to teach another new person how to do something else, which is kind of onboarding, kind of training, but I see those as pretty similar things. How quickly do you learn new systems or technology? I'm not going to lie to you, not extremely quickly. I'm sure there's others that are going to be able to do it faster than I do and probably better than I do to start. But how I actually go about it is I just find somebody who is exceptional at it. They're very good. They understand it very well. And, I just learn from them. I ask them a bunch of questions. I rack their brain, and as kind of as anything goes, the more you do it, the better you get, the more familiar you get. So I'd say that, yeah, I probably wouldn't learn it super, super fast, but I would learn it, and I would learn it with quality, and I would do it well, just as well as the best person that I know that could do it. How do you manage electronic files and documentation? I'm guessing pretty similar to other people, but I've got an extensive folder, or extensive file with extensive folders in them. And what I do is I do 2 folders per file. So let's say, let's just use class as an example. Let's say, so I've got a human resources management file, and then within that file, I've got the different units. And then when I go into those units, it's got the different assignments that we have, or the different, quizzes and pretty much everything else for class. I'll take some PowerPoints, I'll put them in there just so it's easy for me to have it in one place. What would you do if given conflicting instructions from 2 supervisors? I would tell, so supervisor A says do this, supervisor B says do this. I will go to each of them and I said, hey, supervisor A, this is what supervisor B told me to do. What do you think about that? And talk about it for a little bit. And then vice versa also, hey, supervisor B, this is what supervisor A told me to do. Obviously, it conflicted with what you said. So, again, talk about it. What do you think about that? And that's not trying to create tension between either of them or nothing like that, but, just getting a clear path of instructions. You want to do the right thing. Obviously, you're doing it for them, so they would like you to do the right thing also. So just, delegating between them and kind of finding, hey, this is what we actually want you to do, this is how we want you to do it. And sometimes they might have to get together and be like, hey, I think you should do this, I think you should do it this way. And sometimes it's between them, but it's up to me obviously to say, hey, this is what he said, this is what he said. What would you guys actually like me to complete? So describe a time you had to use judgment with limited information. This goes really, really in line with my job as a ski instructor. I showed up there as 15 years old, good skier. I knew a lot about skiing, all of that, but absolutely no instruction. No, you need to be over here at this time. You need to meet with this person. It was all up to me. And at 15 I was a little nervous. Probably, I was a little nervous. I didn't know where to be. I didn't know who I was going to instruct or any of that. So first day, I kind of just learned, like, walk around and start asking people, hey, are you here for a lesson? No. Are you here for a lesson? No. Do you know who your instructor is? And yeah, like I said, it was a little bit nerve wracking, but it helped me a lot to just, kind of be a go getter, go out and make something happen. Don't just sit back and wait for either somebody to tell you what to do or how to do it or stuff like that. And this goes right in hand with my internship right now as well. There is extremely, extremely limited information when it comes to companies that we do not work with. So it's all up to me to, use the internet just for basic things, but then just call them and talk to them, go drive there if they're within reason, if I have that amount of time, and go, see, hey, who's your top seller? Like, what does he sell? How does he sell it? Um, why do we not work with them? Kind of. So my dad explained it to me as just, you gotta just make it happen. I mean, that's life. You can't just sit and wait around for somebody to tell you exactly how to do something, or something like that. You gotta go out and you gotta do it yourself. So if you don't start, nobody's gonna start for you. How do you handle stress in a fast-paced environment? This might be a little bit unique, but I view stress as a very good thing. I think every time you feel stress, everybody feels a little bit of unease. But I've sort of learned through my years that if you have that little bit unease or something in your heart, that's a good thing. That means that first of all you care, and second of all, well, first of all you care. Second of all, you want to do it right. You want to do the right thing. So, and like this says, in a fast-paced environment, you got a bunch of things moving at once. I take stress and I view it as a good thing, to be like, okay, I understand that I'm stressed. I understand. So that means that I care and I want to do the right thing. So let's just take this one step at a time. You can't do 4 things in 1 minute. You got to start from zero, check off that first box, check off the second box, work your way down the list until you find yourself. And then, like I said, the more you do something, the better you get to know it. And eventually you'll see that and you'll be like, okay, I'm a little bit stressed. That's nice. That means that I'm going to put my best foot forward and I'm going to do something really good, most likely. Describe your experience working on a team. As I kind of previously stated, played baseball my entire life. I've been a captain for at least two teams. Um, I just I learned really fast in baseball that it's a really selfish sport. But if you want the best for your team, you have to be a good leader. To be good in baseball, in my opinion, you have to be a little bit selfish, a little bit cocky, kind of thinking like, hey, I'm better than him. I can throw this ball by him, or I can hit this ball. It doesn't matter how hard he's throwing or whatever. That could be in the moment. But when you're working throughout an entire season, you play 50 games, 50 plus games, that those moments that you need to be a little bit cocky, as I said, or whatever, that's okay. And you know, wanting to win is okay, but you got to realize when you're outside of that small little window, small moment, you are there for the team. And there's what, 35, 40 people on a team. If you have 39 out of 40, you're not reaching your full potential. So you all have to work together. And it's been my favorite part about playing baseball here at Concordia is that the culture of the baseball team is unbelievable. It's we've got a great coach, but it's just an elite group of people that are really care for each other rather than for themselves, which is the most important thing on the team. So, how do you contribute to a positive workplace culture? I believe uh, I have very strong leadership skills, and I have a unique gift of bringing people together to form the same goal. This is a little bit similar to baseball, but obviously this is more in the business world. Um, you're Everybody's goal at the end of the day is to progress. So, like I kind of said with baseball, if you're working together to progress, that is going to be the fastest, the most efficient, and honestly the easiest way for everybody, you and all the others around you, to continue to move up and to continue to progress, which I said is the most important thing in business. So, like I said, I can bring people together, which is very good. And if I'm a very low level person, that's no big deal to me. I form a relationship with the others around me. We get to talking about, hey, like, we want this in life. We want to move up. So let's work together to do it. And I think that's got to be the biggest thing that I bring to the workplace. So, especially as far as that goes. All right, I believe that concludes. Thank you very much for your time. I hope you reach out.